Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's very special edition of It's a Peer-to-Peer World Virtual Conference. My name is Nuti. I'm the Editor-in-Chief and Content Director of Nonprofit Pro, and I am delighted to join you as MC for today's conference. This conference is brought to you by 5 companies that serve nonprofits. They've come together to share their unique experience and knowledge with you today. The companies are Accelerus, Cathexis Partners, Charity Dynamics, Marine Walbioff, and Omatic. And so that you have some background for today, the Peer-to-Peer World Virtual Conference is typically held each year in the fall. But we're bringing you this special edition to provide you with practical tips for virtual events and campaigns that you can start using right away during this time when in-person fundraising events aren't an option. We've had more than 1,800 unique RSVPs for today's conference, so it's clear that our sessions today are very much needed at this time in our sector. So please note that if you did not register for one of the sessions available today and would like to attend, visit peertopeerworld.com and register for the session. After you register, you'll receive a unique link to attend the session. The title of this session is called Real-World Practical Tips for Virtual Event and Campaign Success. During this session, please feel free to submit any questions you may have through the Questions tab in your GoToWebinar control panel. The speakers will answer your question toward the end of the session. And please note that this session will be recorded and made available online after today's conference. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Nu, and hi, everybody. Again, my name is Mark Becker. I'm the founding partner of Cathexis Partners. We started Cathexis coming up on 12 years ago now, and about 5 years ago, we started this peer-to-peer world virtual conference to kind of give back to the industry and share our knowledge and offer up a way for organizations to learn more, share ideas, that type of thing. And as Nu mentioned, this is by far our largest. We usually have it in the fall, and decided with everything going on that we should have a special edition. And I guess we were right, because over 1,800 people have registered for this conference. So hopefully we have a lot of great content for you. Just time to jump right in. Jillian, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jillian Stewart. I'm the founder and CEO of PeerWorks Consulting. I've been doing peer-to-peer fundraising. I feel really old, but it's been 20 years now. Got my start at Pallotta Teamworks way back, and then spent about a decade working with the fabulous team at Event 360, where I met Mark, which seems like another lifetime ago. But I came over to the Netherlands in 2012 and started PeerWorks. And we are, an international peer-to-peer fundraising consultancy based in the Netherlands, but we've done work in the US and I think 14 other countries now. So I'm excited to be here today and really share some examples that we've seen, some best practices, some great ideas that we've seen in programs all over the world. So thanks for having me.
Excellent. And we got Betsy batting cleanup for us. So Betsy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, I'm Betsy Dye. I am the Digital Fundraising and Media Manager at Second Harvest Food Bank, where I've been for about a year now. Luckily, I got a year under my belt before a total crisis hit, because we have really hit the ground running as of late. And before that, I've just had like a 15-year career in nonprofit marketing and fundraising. So that's me. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Now I'm going to go ahead and shut off my camera here. So just you can picture a moldy Mr. Potato Head, and that would be just as good as my camera. So let's go ahead and jump right in. With a poll, just a quick poll to ask, get a feel for the crowd. I'm gonna go ahead and put this up. And give you a few minutes to fill that out. Basically fill in the blank or check all the boxes that apply. all the statements that are true for your organization. If you've done virtual campaigns, or if you've had to convert a physical event to a virtual campaign, or you're thinking about doing one, we'd just like to have an idea of who we're talking with today. And as we go through this, as you're filling this out, I want to make a couple of statements. First of all, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them in the questions panel. We'll get to those as we can, and at the end or after the fact, if we run out of time, we will follow up with you. And also, we are having, I believe, a bit of a technical issue where we've hit capacity, which is wonderful, but also bad. But don't worry, if you have coworkers or people you know that are trying to get in and can't because it says it's full, our apologies. We are recording this session, and we'll be making it available after the fact. So again, apologies for those that are having issues logging in. We're attempting to correct that on the fly, and just one of the wonderful things of doing this stuff live. Go ahead and answer the poll by just clicking in the buttons, and I'm going to go ahead and shut that off in just a couple seconds here so that we can go ahead and see the responses. I've got a bunch of people that already voted. 77% have voted. So let me go ahead and stop this now, and then I will share the results. And that's what we're looking at. So it's a pretty good mix. 81% of you, I feel for you, and all of our clients that are going through this right now have physical events that you need to convert. We're going to talk about that. That's actually going to be what I'm going to be focused on, is converting physical events to virtual ones and some of the things to think about. Some of you might already have it solved, so if you have any great advice to give, feel free to drop that in the Q&A, and we'll share that with the attendees. We have events later this year that we hope to keep. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are, waiting to see how things go, right? And 37% of you have virtual campaigns, and about half of you are looking to consider launching campaigns. So, thank you for taking the time to do that. That helps. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. And dive right in. So many of you might have heard this saying before. We are rebuilding the plane while trying to fly it. I've used it a lot, or different variations of this over the years when talking about trying to get a campaign up and running quickly. Well, it's no better fitting time than now, right? It definitely is not easy to change from a physical event to a virtual campaign, and it involves a lot of different things to consider. So I wanted to share and go through a couple of items that we've been dealing with our clients, and some considerations and some tips and some tools that might be helpful for you, right? Because it's going to take the whole crew, get it, using the airplane analogy here, to make this work. It all starts out with planning the pivot from the physical event to the virtual campaign. Then you have to communicate that change. You have to get recruitment, continue recruiting, and offer up coaching, both fundraising, virtual suggestions, ways to create community, right? And have to figure out how to give that sense of togetherness while everybody's home or wherever they might be when your event happens, or your campaign happens. And then, basically it all ends up with a lot of drinking, experientiality of the day, right? How do you turn that walk, run, bike ride, or whatever you might be doing into a virtual event and still bring that sense of community, make people feel involved? Maybe it still all happens on the same day that you're originally planning, or maybe you stretch it out for more of a week or a month and allow time for folks to participate in their own way, in their space, and then share those results. So let's dig into some of that. Let's first of all talk about planning the pivot, right? First, you have to bring your team together virtually, right? And have a go and no-go meeting. This might be decided for you because of local or national, or not so much national, or maybe it's national depending on what country you're in. Decisions might be made for you on whether or not you can have a physical event anymore or not, or maybe your event's further out and you still might decide, like some of our clients are really making that tough choice of even converting fall events into virtual now, or at least planning, having a plan B in case they need to go that route. And then whiteboarding listing out all the different elements that means, all the things that are affected by that decision, and figuring out, making sure you don't forget anything. From there, creating a timeline or an order of execution to actually make those things happen in the right order, because you have to make sure you're assigning tasks to people, and they're executing them in the right order, so that the message is getting out to the right people. And I use this SpongeBob GIF because you can assign tasks, but quite often either you're a one-person shop, or even in large national organizations, you feel this way when you're trying to do anything, wear many hats, perform many duties. So you have to do all of this on top of your regular job, and it's not always easy, right? One thing that's really important is, and we've been talking with several of our clients about this, is capturing the current state of your content, your code, your website, even things like your registration options, your logistical information about the actual event, tactical information, making sure you copy all that and save that somewhere, so that when the normal, in quotes, does return, you have that information. Even be able to have register to participate versus virtual registration types, buttons appear and types appear, that type of thing. Just making sure you capture all that, so if you can return back to normal for this campaign year, great, or for next year, making sure you have all that available, right? And then, just after you've done all that, easy, right? Just execute and nail it. All right. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of this whole image. The biggest thing I can say is, don't let it become your brand, right? This is not your brand. And it might be connected to your brand very closely, especially, for example, the video I had playing as people were joining. Mount Sinai is New York is one of our clients, and they obviously are in the health industry and very directly connected to all this. And they have this QR code, flow code set up to where people can, in the video, you might have seen a shorter version of this on a commercial, where you could just scan this on your phone and it goes directly to this donation form. Then mentioning COVID-19 and response, and having it tied to a $2,500 donation toward a patient bed, that makes sense, right? But if you're a different type of organization, don't let COVID-19 overtake your brand and what you're about. And sure, you might be doing something in response to that, but don't let it overtake your brand. Also know your audience when you start communicating this, and be relevant. About 5 years ago, we bought our current house, and we knew we had to totally gut it and do a lot of work to it. Well, not us. I'm not that guy, but we knew people that could do a lot of work to it. And one of the things I actually did myself is set up a dumpster. And this is 5 years ago now, remember. And for some reason, this dumpster company that I've never ordered more than one dumpster from 5 years ago decided it was time to email me and tell me how they're going to help me out and be available during the quarantine in the mid-COVID-19. It just made no sense to me. I couldn't unsubscribe fast enough, and just bizarre. Side note. Another great example of a really good, quick response to coronavirus was ASPCA, right? They were quick to put this out in the direct mail. And it was concise and urgent. They were very clear about, what inside the messaging, what they wanted to do. But unfortunately, we've given to them over the years, and we're bad end users and bad donors. And of course, we've dirtied up their database and entered our name a few different ways, but the address was the same. These all came in the mail the same exact day. So I do feel like there was a bit of a misstep there. Nothing against the ASPCA, but just kind of showing it as an example. Obviously, we love them, but don't forget the basics. Make sure you clean up your data, especially if you're doing direct mail. Your email marketing blasts will probably, potentially clear out those duplicates depending on how it's set up. But direct mail, might be sending multiple mailings to one address if you're not cleaning that up, and that just hate to see that. Also, in communicating, whenever possible, be personal and pick up the phone and call if you can. And obviously that depends on your availability and the size of your team and your reach, but reach out to folks. Everybody's at home now. Well, most people are at home now. There's a whole lot of people that have to go to work and help out, but those folks that are at home, they're eager to chat, as long as you again approach them with your messaging and they know who you are. Here's a great example, and a great representative happens to be on the phone, of recruitment and communication of how a physical event went virtual and how they communicated that to their audience. Betsy, not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot, anything to say about this? I know this just happened like last weekend, right?
Yeah, so it happened over the weekend on Saturday, and I actually did incredibly well. So we really know our audience, which is, women who like to shop and drink wine and have a good time. So we try to keep all of our messaging really fun and send out a lot of engaging emails over the course of the week, a couple of videos, just trying to turn things like our fashion show into a video instead, and like a virtual tour of our key to the closet, which is a giant closet just like packed with amazing things that you can win. So we did a virtual video of that because people couldn't see it in person. So just trying to turn all of the fun elements into something that can go through an email was our big focus.
Awesome. Great, thanks. And yeah, it sounds like it went great. Another example, one of our clients doing their relaunch, excuse me, they just sent out an email recently, and one of the things they included was this question, not only to just go ahead and the call to action to get involved and register, but also I think it was really great. They said, what will virtual Valsano look like? We're in the works and we're looking into that, but love ideas that you might have. And they actually included a link to a survey for their constituents to fill out, their participants to fill out and say, hey, how do we do this virtually? If you have any ideas, let us know. So I think that was really, really clever and great way to engage and involve your constituents. Another one of our clients, the Proudy, a bike ride, well, a lot of different things, biking, running, etc. It's all turning virtual now, and they again did a great job of sharing that messaging, updating the website, and we had a couple of internal calls with their team, just like the go no go meeting, and said okay, and we listed out all the different elements that have to happen and how we save the code and do all these steps. And I think the end result looked pretty seamless as far as much as it can anyways to the front ending audience. So I'm very pleased with this. And also we will be, like I said, making a video of this and also sharing the deck after the fact. So don't worry about capturing this. We'll share the deck after the conference as well. Something else to consider to help with community is integrating fitness applications like Strava or Fitbit or MapMyFitness into your campaigns, right? Allowing folks to show off how they're training for or working out or whatever, if it happens to be a physical event. You might be able to just share with them and create some short steps that you can have them provide to them in a toolkit, and they can share and just follow those steps to share on their personal page or on Facebook, that type of thing. For example, in Strava, you can set up a club for a specific campaign and have people join, and then share that club's workouts on the main site. One way to kind of get that community going. And then there's actual peer-to-peer fundraising platforms, giving, fundraising, and run sign up that actually integrate these tools into their platforms. For example, here's fundraising and one of their participants, where you see not only their fundraising goal, which is great and pretty standard, right, but also their progress towards their physical goal. So this person's 20 kilometers into their 50K goal, and I think that's, you know, really awesome and a great way to extend, and again, including that gamification and that challenge and that camaraderie. Have milestone badges that show them, you know, not just the fundraising ones, which are obviously, you know, the end goal, but also that sense of community and involvement. Logged first workout, halfway through, reached their goal. All great stuff, and that's all built right into fundraising is the example I'm using here. Again, there's other tools that do it, and I saw a post just this morning from the great Noah Cooper at Blackbaud, who's come up with a solution to incorporate Strava into TeamRaiser. So that's hot off the presses. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this, and again, it might just be having people share it on their social media, and then bringing it in that way. And that brings us to user-generated content and content aggregators like Juicer or TintUp, where you can, you know, have hashtags brought into your web page, campaign homepage, for example, or in the case of TintUp, maybe even take it to the next take it to the next step and, you know, acquire rights. So have them post a video and in the survey, you know, provide rights for your organization to use that video moving forward. These aren't free tools, but there's some low-cost options that can really help bring that sense of community without, the other option is, of course, you can create a whole nother online community, but, you know, I think that's just another hurdle. So someone has to, first of all, register for your campaign, and then have this extra step of registering for a private community. You know, you might be successful in that, but you might want to consider a less arduous process of doing this. Other things you can do is user-generated content, is gather voices or seen it. Michael Hoffman, the good-looking fellow right there in the video with the play button right on his nose, he's one of the founders of Gather Voices and been around for a few years. And it's just a way, kind of taking that content aggregator to the next level and kind of scripting it out and helping, in the case of Seen It, even storyboarding, you know, and saying, hey, we're looking for this type of thing. So maybe it's someone running, or maybe it's someone biking, or maybe a specific, you know, skyline scene, or, you know, out in the woods, a path in the woods, and you can request those types of scenes. Your constituents provide those videos, and then you can edit it all together nice and clean. Some really interesting tools that can really help with that sense of community, and everybody doing their own thing in their own way. Even a great little SBCA here in Florida just had to change their walk to virtual, and I think they have some great ideas. If you go out to their website, you can see that they have some stops along the way where you stop and look at a sponsor's thing, or you might do something else, play a little game. So it's a really clever way of interacting your audience virtually. Obviously, live stream fundraising is more popular than ever. Lots of platforms are getting into that. The original, the OG in this space was Tiltify, but there's a lot of different options out there. But you know, make sure you have an audience and a connection to that group of people before you delve too deep. And something else I came across, virtual event bags, I think is a really clever idea. This is from active.com. This is where I saw it, and I thought it was just a really cool way to basically virtualize your event bags. So instead of having to figure out how to get people their T-shirts or whatever, maybe give them a web page with tiles for the different sponsors and a place where they can go and pick up, you know, a discounted or a free T-shirt or what have you from the different sponsors, along with their other offerings are. So you're still giving them their due, because obviously the sponsors help drive the whole thing, even if there's not a physical event. Then you can do virtual conferences, anything from Zoom to GoToMeeting like we're using today, or you can kind of take it to the next level, which we've considered for this, but we haven't gone there yet, like virtual trade show software. And Cabinet M has a website where they link out all the different trade show virtual event type features and platforms. Feel free to check that out if you're interested in kind of upping your game to that level, but it can be really, really creative stuff if you go that way. All that to say is, you don't have to be Global Citizen and the Rolling Stones to put out something really cool. I mean, look at Charlie Watts. He was playing air drum. I mean, come on. If he can do that to the world, we all can put out better content or just as good. Sorry, Charlie, as the Stones did there. If it's pre-recorded using something like Gathering Voices or Seen It or truly live. Like Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram, even Zoom. And again, use Zoom and then pre-record all that and put it together nicely, edit it so you can get going. And another example, again, Betsy, the Wine, Women, and Shoes. This is their actual event. It wasn't necessarily a peer-to-peer fundraising, but again, I think it's a great example that just happened this weekend, where you had it on Zoom and had a quite the goal and made some pretty good progress towards that, right? She might be on mute. But just to wrap up my section, because I'm already over time. Sorry, guys. Bring this full circle and tie it back into the airplane message. And just because I got this picture and I thought it was really, really cool. This is actually my nephew-in-law, Zach, in the front here with the black mask on. He's a U.S. Air Force trainer for basic training instructor down in Lackland Air Force Base, and they've managed to figure out how to do this is their closing ceremonies, their graduation ceremony. Actually, they had recruits going through, and they still have them going through and doing all this. And usually they'll have the families and parents come out to see people graduate. They couldn't do that anymore because of the current situation. So this was something they did over Facebook Live, I believe. And I just thought this was a really cool picture. And our military is still out there making it happen and doing these things at this time. And I think we all have our own ways we can do our own little bit. All right. That's me. Jillian.
Great. Can you give me the clicker?
I am working on that right now. There you go. Can you hit enter? Did that work?
Yes, I think so. Yes, great. So I'm gonna try to fly through my slides here. I'm gonna kick it off with my favorite little bunny, just to illustrate how sometimes it feels when we're trying to get people to participate in our peer-to-peer programs, and specifically we're talking about virtual programs, that we're trying to get this bunny to sign up for our program, to start fundraising with our program, to raise a lot of money. And we gotta figure out a way to get this bunny really excited. So we need to focus on what this carrot looks like and what we're really dangling in front of it. And so today I'm going to talk about the 3 kind of keys to success with your virtual programs. And it was hard for me to get it down to 3, as Betsy and Mark know, but I finally honed in on these 3, and they felt good for the last few days, so I'm going with it. The first thing is delivering a good feeling in your entire experience, your entire virtual experience from start to finish, to create a sense of community within your participant base, and to make the entire process easy. Granted, the real highlight here is on that good feeling, because if you're creating a sense of community and you're making the process really easy for people, those are also lending to that good feeling. So, and when it comes to good feelings, there's a lot of good feelings that we can create for people with our programs, with our marketing, with allowing them to fundraise or encouraging them to fundraise for us. So we're going to use all of those good feelings and that sense of community and that easy process to help lead us to that big pot of gold that we're trying to get out of our virtual programs at the end of the day. So I also want to remind you that we have to do this for the entire process from start to finish. So we need to get people to register. And then once they've registered, we got to get them to activate as a fundraiser, to get them to get their first donation. And once they got their first donation, we need them to optimize the amount of money that they've raised to reach their personal best. And finally, after all is said and done, we want to retain those participants year over year. So again, we're trying to use these kind of keys that I'm going to talk about at every single stage in this process with our virtual programs. So before I kind of dive into each of those three keys, a few quick things to mention. First, virtual events can learn a lot and really steal a lot from live events. So some of the best practices happening in live events can absolutely be applied to virtual. And you're going to see that I'm presenting some live event examples and some things they're doing there that you can absolutely apply to your virtual program. I suggest that you register yourself for some virtual events, some live events, so you can learn firsthand what's going on with other programs. My team here at PureWorks, we've registered for the top 10 events in the UK, the US, and in the Netherlands, and we pay attention to all the communication, all the things they're offering those people, really trying to learn from the best. And we collect all of our ideas, all the things that we're seeing all over the world in an Evernote account that we share across the entire team. Don't tell Evernote that. We just say we have one user, but it's really the entire team using it. But you can use Pinterest, you can use another tool if you like, but create a place on your kind of public drive where you can share these ideas and keep them as your treasure chest, where you can go when you need some inspiration or need some best practices. And I'd like you to use this deck as a start of your own peer-to-peer treasure chest. So I'm going to fly through examples. I'm just going to tour you through what I've got here, and I hope that you go back and really look at this stuff and really click on the links that we've provided and check this stuff out and add this to your treasure chest. So to get started with the first key is about giving a good feeling to your throughout the process, really. And the first example I have is one from the UK and the memory walk. And this is kind of a typical sort of messaging that you would see from a health charity, where they're talking about the cause, the person that's suffering from the disease in this case. So the marketing materials relate to like people walking for their wife or walking for this woman's grandmother. But what I like about it is they took it to another level, and they also are showing, giving that feeling of this woman is saying to walk for her husband, who is the caretaker, who's her caretaker. And so this beautiful piece of copy that's written from that perspective. And they also made a little video. I'm not going to show it here, but again, you can click on it and play it later. But I think it's a really nice approach to showing this cause and really the emotion, the healing, and the hope. And that also, healing and hope, is that good feeling, that connection that we can deliver, as you can see in marketing messaging. Another example, next example, is from New Zealand and testicular cancer, one of my favorite virtual programs that I've seen, called Go Balls Out. And they use humor as their feel good. And again, check out this video when you get the deck. But basically, it encourages people to go out and walk a distance and walk a shape of this. So you'll see in their marketing materials, they really have a lot of fun with this. Get back into sack racing, explore your local cul-de-sacs. I mean, and I love this one where they even have a texting component where it send us your texticles. And so you text 2 ball emojis and it makes a $3 donation. So really clever use of humor in this program. Love it. Another feeling that is, I think most people have seen this by now, but I dumped it in the deck just to reference it, is this crazy video about first followers and the importance of people that follow the leader. And so you can watch this at your leisure. But the feeling, it feels good to be a part of something that's already successful. And humans want to be a part of something that's already successful. So there are a few examples I have in here from the US, one from Pelotonia, where this is the launch of their registration last year. And what I love about it is they've already gotten off to a great start, and they're telling you that. They're telling you, like, check out how many people have registered in the first 24 hours. They're featuring their first followers and making you feel really good about joining these people. You're part of something that's already successful. They already had 500,000 raised. They already had 1,200 riders and 327 Pelotons. So really a great way to showcase those first followers and helping you feel like you're a part of something good, because that feels good. Next example is from the UK and this cool virtual event called Operation Bletchley. I'm not going to show you the video, but it really sets a nice tone. It's like making you go back in time as if you're one of the code breakers back in like World War I or II kind of time. And so like the music they're playing and the mood that they set, it makes you feel like it gives you this mood and this feeling that you're a part of this code breaking challenge, which is super cool. And then their copy and like the stuff they're offering is also pretty cool. They offer a lot of incentives. Incentives make people feel good about taking action or raising a certain amount of money. So they're offering t-shirts and medals and code breaking puzzle books and things like that. Pretty cool concept. The next one, also from the US, not really a peer-to-peer fundraising event. I don't know if any of you guys see this. I don't know how I ended up in this email list, because I feel like this is mainly targeted towards men because I talk about dad jokes and things, but the social distance run, and they also use a lot of humor in their copywriting. I mean, I read this website from start to finish, read every email they've sent me because it's fun. They even have this like fake quote from Queen Elizabeth on their website, which I thought was hilarious. And I love I signed up because I was curious what they would send me. And I love the subject line, "Aren't you fancy signing yourself up for the social distance run?" I mean, that drew me in. And I was reading all about, what they have on offer here. A really, really great, strong copywriting. They even took it to the level of, with the kids program, getting kids involved. And they made these fun little like coloring book kind of milestone trackers for kids if they want to get involved in training for this social distance run or training along with their dads in doing it. So love this stuff all around from the social distance run. I just wish that it was a peer-to-peer fundraising program. One of our clients, Darkness into Light, this is a client out of Ireland, but it's a global huge event with like 200,000 participants. We help them optimize this program. And this is a shot of their registration process where we're asking people to tell us what their fundraising goal is. And even here is a great opportunity to help people feel good about fundraising. And you'll see that we've added some normalization language, like talking about the average amount that participants raised last year, about the fact that they can earn incentives if they get their first donation or if they reach 1,000, talking about the impact that they can make by fundraising, and that every bit makes a difference. So helping people feel good throughout the process and sharing why it's so important that they fundraise for an event that fundraising is not a requirement. The next example is from the Netherlands. This is a virtual event that just popped up a couple weeks ago. Some of our friends here are producing this event called the Solo Ride. And one of the things I love that they're doing here is they're kind of, the money that they're raising every week from their collection of riders, they're allowing their riders to kind of gift that money or announce the amount of money that's been raised by everyone. So this little check that shows like almost 2,000 euro is not the amount that this guy raised, but it's the amount that all the participants raised in that week. And this guy is like virtually giving the check over to the hospital, the Erasmus MC. And so they've been sending these videos out once a week featuring different fundraisers that are awarding these checks. And I think it's a really cute idea. Really feels good. I love this one too from the UK, the Stand Up to Cancer. They're a very bold movement. They're not afraid to do some crazy stuff. You'll see this tweet that they tweeted to Piers Morgan. You can see that it's pretty bold in what they said. And the way that this came about is their program, they made it really fun for people to donate. They actually gave incentives to the donors. And the way this one came about is you'll see like at 10 pounds, they'll creatively insult you or they'll write a poem about you. For 20 pounds, they'll ask your boss on Twitter to give you a raise. And they actually did this stuff. But the whole Piers Morgan thing was, I think it was like 100 pounds, they'll tweet you a dick pic. Pretty funny. Oh, it was 50 pounds, they'll insult Piers Morgan on Twitter. Amazing. So this, by the fact that they offer these crazy, funny incentives to donors, really then help people ask for money from their friends because their friends, they thought their friends would find this funny and cool too. Another one here, oh, sorry, that's it for the section, but I wanted to share, we put a little checklist together. I'm a big fan of checklists and like assessment sheets. So we made a PDF that puts all this together. This is just one slide. Questions to ask yourself if you're assessing your program, looking at it from the marketing messaging, fundraising, and donor messaging. These are the questions you should ask yourself to see if you are, in fact, delivering a good feeling in your messaging. But the PDF has all of this combined into one thing, and you can click on that and download it as well. So the second session, I'm really trying to fly here. So Betsy, I don't cut you out at the end, but creating a sense of community. There's a lot of things you can do to create a sense of community. You can sign off on your emails by sharing your story, your picture, like this woman is doing for Darkness into Light in Ireland. You can, Charity Water basically straight up says that there's no us without you. I love that. The MS Society, we helped them create this manifesto and write this manifesto for their global Kiss Goodbye to MS movement. I'm a huge fan of manifestos. It's a really great way to connect people, even better when you can bring it to life on video, and Mark shared a lot of ideas on how you can do that virtually. The Gentleman's Ride out of Australia, but it's a global program. They have some cool stuff on their website. You can see their ride isn't happening till September, but they're still showing how many people have registered to ride here and how many countries are taking part. And their map is super cool. You can click on any country to see how many riders have ever done the ride, how much they've ever raised in the Netherlands. And then you can click through to actually see the rides happening in the Netherlands and click through even further to see the riders in each city. So a really cool interactive map, but it really helps to create that global community, and you can do this even on a local level. A lot of options there. Pelotonia, love this example with their arrows. People could submit an arrow, they design their own 3D or 2D arrow, and they used it in their marketing materials later on. Love this idea, love, love, love it. And this is really typical to do a social media wall to create that community with people. You see this a lot, not really much new there with Extra Life, but it's a great thing to have on your website. But something we did with one of our clients in the UK is we did a very analog version of a wall of fame because we wanted to connect their staff with their fundraisers. So we had them put these Post-it notes on their office wall, which was kind of ridiculous, but these are all the people that started fundraising for their Walk for Autism, which is a virtual walk program. And then they sent emails out with these little videos, like homegrown videos of showing the Post-it notes, and they're saying like, hey, check to see if your name is on the Walk of Fame. And then they did it also on Facebook, and you can see like people were looking, this is really early on after they made these posts, but people were like psyched to find themselves on the wall. They were tagging their friends because they saw them on the wall. They were wondering if they were on there yet. So it really helped with engagement. So it's good to do these things online, but also kind of doing them offline and doing them in a kind of silly way. And I think can also help. And finally, I think stuff, even physical stuff, t-shirts, wristbands, stuff, even though you're not doing a live event, you can still be sending these out to people. It still helps them feel connected. It makes them feel like it's a special event. They feel like they're part of something bigger. And this is an example from a Danish MS Society, what they're doing for their You Go Girl walk program. The last section, and Betsy, I promise, I'm gonna do this really quickly in a minute, is to make it really easy. Making it easy. So in Denmark as well, the MS Society shows they have a dinner program, and they write on their homepage with this dinner program where you do a dinner with your friends or whoever you're quarantining yourself with, and they already tell you right up front that you're going to get this welcome pack, which includes a gift certificate to the grocery store. So they're basically buying your ingredients for you. They're giving you all the recipes that you want, and they show this right up front. You don't have to dig on their website to find this stuff because it's really a good selling point in how easy it is to do this program for the MS Society in Denmark. This one from the US, Children's Miracle Network, I just like how they presented the steps. Wear, share, be a change maker, wear these bandages, you order them online. They tell you a little bit more how to do that, wear, share, and change make. And they even give you a nice sample message right up front showing like, hey, we already wrote this message for you. All you have to do is send this out to your network. Really simple. Darkness into Light made it super easy. We videotaped this video in my apartment in Amsterdam, super low budget, but we wanted to put a video right at the end of somebody's registration process that gets them to start fundraising and inspires them to fundraise. So this is the CEO making a statement about how important it is to fundraise right at the moment when somebody registers for the event. It's not fancy, it wasn't meant to be, but it was extremely effective in getting people to pay attention and take action right after they registered. We provided a lot of social share graphics. We had a whole ton of social share graphics that people could send out to their friends to get them to join them or to register. You can do the exact same thing for a virtual program, just like this new program in the UK that just launched last week called the 2.6 Challenge, they created all these Instagram stickers, like a lot of GIFs, these fun things that you can post on if you're doing the challenge or to thank your sponsors. They provided all of these things to their fundraisers and the charities that are doing this program. So that's it. There's the checklist for making it easy. And again, you can download that PDF for the full checklist to get all of that. So the summary is just give a good feeling at every step in your journey, create a sense of community, and make it easy for your folks every step of the way. Sorry about that, Betsy, a little bit over my time, but.
I feel good because in watching your presentation, Jillian, I feel like I'm like, I passed some sort of test. I'm like, okay, we do that.
A+.
We do that.
Yes.
So that's good.
Good.
I will jump right in. At Second Harvest, we actually have, do I have my, oh, there we go. So we have our peer-to-peer DIY fundraiser. It's called a virtual food drive. And this is something that we just have existing throughout the year. So we very much focus on a summer campaign and a holiday campaign. And this was actually built by Cathexis. So thank you, Mark. And it's just a really great tool where people can go in. You can kind of see on there and fill up a shopping cart to give a donation or just give a straight donation. It allows people to sign up for their own pages and fundraise for us. So it's a great tool. It also connects to Facebook, which is amazing. So in getting people to sign up, oh, I think it might have skipped one. I don't know. So number one, well, I think somehow I'm missing a slide, but anyways, it's kind of like a thing where you can build it and they will come, but first you have to tell them about it. So we make sure that we spread the word about the virtual food drive to all of social media, to our volunteers, especially as soon as the crisis hit. A lot of people wanted to come in and volunteer, which of course they can't because they have to stay 6 feet apart. So we're very limited in that area. So we started encouraging people very much like crisis hits, sign up for a virtual food drive. This is the way you can make the biggest impact. So as you can see, sort of going through the fall up until now, our fundraising has very much increased. Our registrations have gone through the roof, which is absolutely amazing. It's hard to keep up with, but that is a really good problem to have. So like what you want to, like when a crisis hits, you absolutely just want to be ready. You want to have a plan in place. You want to, I mean, people just want to start immediately. Like they want to go to your organization and have an opportunity to sign up and do something right now. So if you can, like we're very lucky that we were able to translate our fundraising into crisis mode pretty quickly, just by changing some graphics and messaging. And people, like we really didn't have to do too much. People just started signing up. So if you don't have a peer-to-peer plan, what I kind of recommend is look at other organizations in your field and just kind of borrow their ideas. So, you know, just see what works. Feel free to reach out and talk to people. We all are in the same boat and willing to help. So, all right. I feel like there's a delay in my pressing button. Oh, okay, things got a little bit mixed up, but so yeah, so build it, let them know, and they will come. So just tell everyone. We put it on our website, social media, everything. And so something is going on with the presentation. However, we'll just skip around a little bit.
Sorry, Becky, not sure what's going on there. Betsy.
Yeah, so then that was just a little bit weird. So provide materials. We provide everything that they need, kind of like what Jillian was saying in hers, where just like we make graphics that people can share very easily. We have quick stats that they can paste into a tweet. We have stories they can share. We have a user manual, which people don't necessarily read, and that's fine, but we have it there for them that we can easily just send it to them to get them started and just make it as easy as possible. Is absolutely huge. And my next kind of tip is to be available. So what you'll find is you can see by my call log there that people have just been calling nonstop. So no matter how easy your system is, how many tools you provide, there will be calls and there will be emails, and you just have to be there for them. It has been a huge lesson for me, based on the fact that our volume went up so quickly, basically overnight. I thought that the holidays were busy, but this has definitely set a new bar. So you just want to be responsive. When people email, they want to hear back from you right away. If they call, they want to get a call back right away, because if you let that lapse at all, they're just going to kind of lose interest. They're going to reach out to someone else, and you absolutely do not want to lose them. And you'll find people have really good hearts and really bad tech skills. So I have done everything from coach people how to put an email link in an email to even copy a hyperlink out of a browser. So just be there, be patient, and you'll actually make a lot of friends that way, which is absolutely awesome. And the next step is kind of that you want to connect with them. So like get to know the people who are fundraising for you. And I know this depends a lot on volume. So if you have thousands of people, you might not be able to connect with them all, but you can kind of keep track of the people that stand out. Like, for example, we have here James, who offered to shave his head if he reached his fundraising goal of $7,000. And so we sort of connected, and he actually was the one who reached out and said, I want to get a little bit of, media behind this. So we kind of pitched it to media. They're looking for good, positive, feel-good stories during a crisis. So they picked up on this, and they actually went out to talk to him, which was amazing. And he was on the news. And just so you know, and you can see here that we have a bunch of people that are doing very, very creative things. But so you know, James did end up shaving his head on live TV on Tuesday when we had a telethon. And it was just really great to kind of give him some props. And it's a really fun way for other people to get involved. So we've gotten a few social media messages, people reaching out on Facebook to say like, hey, I'm thinking about shaving my head. And we didn't really intend for that to be something that happened, but it just kind of happened organically by putting this story out there. So it was just a matter of like listening to emails, responding. I've had a lot of people just do creative things, everything from selling barbecue to having an Easter parade that they're putting out there, and just to get attention, do something unique. So just make sure that you celebrate them and keep track, even if you have to keep it in an Excel document where you have their names and notes about them. Just make sure that you follow their journey, because you want to make them feel good about it. And speaking of feeling good about it, stewardship is definitely a huge thing. So you want to make sure that these people feel celebrated and thanked. You want to make sure that their donors feel thanked as well. So if you do have the ability to send messages to donors as well to thank them, I work with a really great team. My boss, Maria, does amazing emails like the one right there, kind of showing the impact of their gift, which right now is absolutely huge. So just updating them and making sure you exclude them from any asks if they're put into your system. You don't want the next email that they get from you to be asking for more money. So you want to kind of steward them, show what their gifts are doing before you try to like retain them as a donor. And I actually, for our other campaigns, send out a lot of thank you notes. So handwritten notes. I put personal notes about all of their, fundraising campaigns. And I've found that despite the fact that people don't really care about incentives, they really do love a good thank you gift. So that's been just a fun thing where you pop something in the mail and they're really excited to receive it. So that's what I got.
And that's awesome. Quote, go ahead.
Oh, and this quote is just, I'm sure everyone has seen this quote, and it really stuck with me and resonated with me during this time where our job is absolutely just to help the helpers help. And like as a peer-to-peer professional, that's what we do. Our number one job is to make people feel good during a scary time, make them feel helpful and useful and important. So yeah.
So good.
You do it well. Thanks, Betsy. Yeah, and I love that screenshot with the guy getting his head shaved, the person getting their head shaved, because not only is that awesome, but you know, with that screenshot of the amount raised being over the goal of $1 million,
Yeah.
well done. That's incredible.
That was a very crazy Tuesday, but a very, very good day.
Awesome. Well, thank you to you both, and we have some questions coming in, and definitely probably won't have time to get to all of them. So if we don't worry, we will be reaching out afterwards and responding, because we have the questions and the person that asked them. So, and we'll also be sharing a copy of the recording. So again, if any of your coworkers were having issues getting in, again, apologies. We'll be sending out an email here shortly. I'm not sure what the technical issues are there, if they just dialed us back because of the bandwidth issues or what. But main thing is you were able to join us. We appreciate that. And I have not been able to use my computer because I was sharing my keyboard and mouse. So let me see if I can quickly get into any the questions. Jillian, did you get a chance to look and see any that jumped out?
No, I haven't taken a look in them yet, but we have some here. I can see them now.
I actually did see a question earlier that I responded to about they understood that we wanted to keep Wine, Women, and Shoes a fun event, but given the current circumstances, like how do you kind of balance that the seriousness of the situation and the fact that people are going through such a hard time right now with an event that's supposed to just be fun and shopping and women? And the answer is you want to give people an escape, but you also want to tell them what their gift is doing. Like, this is more important than ever before. So like you joining us and having this good time is going to help other people who are going through such a hard time. So you can do that through testimonial videos, statistics, sharing stories, is kind of my answer to that.
Yeah, well said. Here's a couple of examples. We sent out a survey about a week ago to the folks that had registered by that point, and they shared some examples of some campaigns that they had. And again, we'll be sharing the slides, so no worries there. But did want to give a shout out and thanks to everybody for taking the time to fill out that survey. And then I also wanted to share resources that we have available. You can definitely go and download those at any time. One of them is available in the control panel there to download right now. It's just a quick and dirty little list that we put together as we were getting emails in from different vendors and different experts in the industry. I decided just to make a kind of a punch list of different resources and examples of different types of campaigns. By no means is it exhaustive, but just a few that kind of stuck out to me. And I made that available on Google Drive, so you can download that and adjust it or use it, keep it, make your own version of that if it's handy to you. And I think, Jillian, you also had a checklist available as well, right?
Yeah, that's also linked to from the deck. I don't know if we can also send that along as a separate thing, but it certainly you can link to it right from clicking on the deck. Yeah.
Yeah, we will share that as well. And you're also offering up a discount?
Yeah, so we do 90-minute coaching sessions. It's kind of a new thing we've been doing, started earlier this year, and it's been, I think, great just to give really quick, tactical, specific advice for your one burning question about your program. So it's 90 minutes long and with our consultants and done virtually, obviously. And so we giving a little gift here to anybody that endured this session to be able to use that towards a coaching session from us. So yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, really appreciate everybody joining today. For those that, again, that know people that weren't able to join, again, we'll be sending out an email with a link to the recording, and feel free to respond with any questions you have. My email address is there, Jillian's is there, and a huge thank you to both Jillian and Betsy for that. And with that, Nu, I think it's back to you.